You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so why try to build a business without one? Grow your contracting business and grow your mind with Growth Mindset Monday.
All right. Welcome back to Mindset Mondays. We took a little vacation the last couple of weeks. Let's be real. You haven't seen us. We missed you as much as you missed us. I know. Justin and I actually got to spend some time together in, of all places, Los Angeles, California, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But we're really excited to be back on the horse, as they say, back in the grind, back on the saddle, whatever you want to call it. We're back. Happy 4th of July. Hope you guys spent it with family, with friends. You're still got all your 10 fingers and toes. I do. So I'm really happy about that. Go ahead and shout us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever it is that you're watching from. Your name, your business name, where it is that you're from, so we can give you some credit, some street cred, as they like to say. But I want to share with you guys kind of a funny but not so funny story about the 4th of July. A couple of years ago, I went to go visit my sister in Idaho, and she lives in a smaller town in Idaho, but it's a beautiful town. It's in eastern Idaho. And we went to visit her. Well, the rest of my family came as well. My older sister, my younger brother as well, and my parents. And so we were all together, kind of called it a family reunion, if you will. Middle of summer, 4th of July was perfect. Weather was amazing. Great time. Well, we had our barbecue, ate some food, gained some unnecessary weight, but waited around until it got dark. Well, in the northern states, you guys know this, it doesn't get dark till after like 10 o'clock at night. So it's like 10:30 before we're shooting off fireworks. But here we are in my brother-in-law's driveway shooting off fireworks. Earlier in the day, he asked me, hey, what kind of fireworks you want to get? Right? You want to get stuff for the kids, the little poppers and streamers and all that fun stuff. I was like, come on, man, we want to get some aerials. Like, let's go. He's like, all right. So we went between him and me and my other brother-in-law, we pitched in and we grabbed a few $100s worth of fireworks. Well, we were smart about it, right? There's a lot of younger kids. And so we didn't want to shoot them off in the driveway. So we went to the street. So there was some distance there. And we started lighting off the fireworks. And we'd light, one or two at a time. They'd shoot up, boom, yay, fun, right? The fireworks. Well, one of the things that people don't know is wind and fireworks don't get along very well. And about halfway through our little homemade fireworks show, the wind started to pick up. And we tried to brace the launchers that we'd created so that they wouldn't fall over. Well, wouldn't you know it, about 3/4 of the way through, we launched like 3 or 4 in a row, or I should say we lit 3 or 4 in a row, and the wind decided to come and knock them over, right? All of a sudden, fireworks started shooting everywhere. The neighbor's house across the street. My wife, who was cold at the time, sitting in the car, glancing off the windshield. And of course, at the garage where everybody was sitting. And it was madness. People diving to the floor, people running inside, kids screaming, parents screaming. I mean, I was laughing, but everybody else was screaming and crying. I mean, it was crazy, right? But all in all, a great time. Nobody got too injured. I think I singed a hole in my sweater at the time, but we made it out all right, right? Now, funny story, right? Funny story. But why do I tell you this? I tell you this because when we went to go shop for fireworks, we didn't go find the cheapest fireworks. And you guys know what I'm talking about. They pop up every 4th of July, the week prior. The fireworks stands in the Walmart parking lot or in the street corner or wherever it is that they might sell fireworks. You see fireworks, right? And they're selling these fireworks. They're always 60% off, right? And so everybody's like, 60% off. I'm going to go to John, or I'm going to go to Bob's, or I'm going to go to this place. But something happens in that eventually you stop going to the cheapest place. You stop going to the cheapest place because you're tired of the duds. You're tired of the fireworks that don't exceed expectations. You're tired of the fireworks that don't actually satisfy your need for fireworks. And you end up going to some place which on paper is probably more expensive. But here's the crazy part. If you've ever bought fireworks, and not the first time, but you do fireworks repeatedly, and if you've ever bought fireworks repeatedly, something happens. You don't actually buy fireworks based on price anymore. You don't. Why? Because the cheap fireworks are going to get you the cheap results. And so you end up going to the fireworks place or the stand or whatever you want to call it that sells the good stuff. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you ask your friends or your friends ask you, you're like, hey, where do they sell the good stuff? Right? You're looking for the good stuff. Why is it that we go to the place that has the good stuff? Because we know the value we're going to get for the money that we invest, right? The value we're going to get for the money that we invest. And that's exactly what we did until the wind blew it over, right? But before that, value across the board. I'd never second guessed the amount of money, the hundreds of dollars that we spent, and it was pushing 1,000, but the hundreds of dollars that we spent on fireworks. Why? Because I got what I paid for and then more. Now, other than maybe giving you a little chuckle or a giggle here on a Monday, talking about fireworks and maybe not the best experience that we had, the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I want you to think about you and your business. You see, we get messages all the time from people who are watching or listening, or people who are currently using Contractor Plus as their source, if you will, of organizing their leads, of sending out their estimates, keeping track of their jobs. And a lot of folks still, whether you're brand new in business or you've been in business for a few years, they still struggle with the price game. You see, because inevitably, you're going to come across a conversation, whether it's your first day, whether it's your fifth year, doesn't matter. You're going to come across a conversation at least once a week where someone's going to ask you about price. Here's the crazy part. There's two ways to look at price. You can look at price through the lens of I'm too expensive, or you can look at price through the lens of I'm not adding enough value. Two different conversations, but talking about the same thing. Now, we all know Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, right? He's still alive. That guy, God bless him. I think he drinks like a Diet Coke or a 6-pack of Diet Coke a day, whatever it is. Still alive and still super successful. So Warren Buffett said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Now, I want you to think about your life and think about the things that you're more than willing to fork money over for, regardless of how much it costs. For some of you, that's energy drinks. For some of you, that's some type of tobacco product. For some of you, that's your Ford truck with your 20-inch lift and your big old mud tires. Whatever it is for you in your life, we all have it, by the way. We all have it. The thing that we're willing to pay for regardless of price. Now, we had something bad that happened this weekend. We were in the small town grocery store buying some snacks for the barbecue later on in the day, and my wife's car got hit. Now, we don't have a cheap car because I've passed that phase in life where I was looking for the cheap. My wife has a BMW, and let me tell you, she deserves that BMW. So we parked the BMW, we walk into the store. Less than 7 minutes later, we walk back out, and we got a little yellow sticky note on my windshield. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I look down and I see that somebody had played some vehicle bumper cars with our car. They scraped the entire front bumper, smashed one of the headlights. And I was like, this is great. Middle of vacation. Here we are, small town, enjoying ourselves, except we're not anymore because somebody smashed our car up, right? Anyway, we took care of that. But as we were driving back home, I wasn't pissed at what happened because I get it. It happens, right? What I was pissed at is the thing that I found valuable was damaged, right? Now, BMW. Now, if you ask me how much did I spend on this BMW for my wife, I'll tell you, I don't know. I know it sounds stupid, right? I don't know. Why? Because I didn't buy the BMW for price. I bought the BMW for value. And let me tell you, I've bought my wife cars over the years. Everything from a Chevy car, which was a POS when we first got married, all the way up to the BMW now. And we've had GMCs and Nissans and Chevys. And this is by far the nicest car that we've ever had. And it is the only car that I didn't purchase based on price. In fact, we'd purchased a brand new, kid you not, right off the lot, brand new Nissan Pathfinder, brand new. Drove it home. Within 2 days, it had a leak. Took it back to the dealership. They said they took care of it. Brought it back home. 2 days later, leak again. Back to the dealership. Back home, leaked again. Got the general manager involved. leaked again. And at this point, she was more pissed off and frustrated about the car than anything else. And so I was like, okay, what do I got to do so that my wife is happy with the vehicle? Well, she ain't happy with that car. I had always wanted a BMW because I knew how nice they were. I always rent them when I go on trips. I have a truck with my daily driver, Toyota Tundra, and I love it, but it's a truck, right? So I love nice cars when I go on vacation. Take her to the BMW dealership. I said, listen, you don't have to buy a BMW. I just want you to test drive the thing. So we find one. It's gray, X5. She jumps in. We drive it, I think 4 or 5 miles. She hardly says a word, but I can see on her face, she's happy. She likes it. So we go back to the dealership. She says, let's make it happen. I walk in, told the salesman, how much? Here's the trade-in. Here's my card. Like, we're done. 30 minutes later, we walked out with BMW. Funny story, but not a funny story, right? Now, I'm going to pause real quick. If you're here watching, go ahead and drop your name, your business name, where you're from, so we can go ahead and shut you out. We got BMF Services. We got Clinton, who was the first one on here. I don't know why you threw an X on there. Maybe that means something cool. Justin is getting the shout outs today from a few folks. It's Mr. Popular. I'm telling you, TV celebrity or something. We're going to make him one here shortly. So back to the story, right? Why fireworks? Why BMW? Because 2 purchases that I've made, one a higher purchase and one not a higher purchase. Regardless, I didn't make them based on price. I didn't look at the price before I bought them, right? I bought them because of the value that they provided. Now, back to your business. You're a contractor. Congratulations. Some of you have your license and some of you don't. Topic for a different day. But you got a license. We're going to assume you got your license. We're going to assume you got insurance. We're going to assume you have a website. We're going to assume you have business cards. Woo, right? You got all these things and you're open for business. Big freaking deal. You've probably noticed that most people don't care. They don't care. They don't care whether your shirts are collared and branded. They don't care whether you're driving a Ford or a Chevy. They don't care. Because what you're coming across more often than not is the person that's asking you, how much? How much is this going to set me back? How much is this going to cost? Well, that's expensive. So on and so forth. Price, 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 price. And it's a frustrating conversation to have. Trust me, I've had it numerous times over the years. Price, 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 price. When I had my landscaping business, this was the most frustrating thing. And by the way, I had no idea what the difference was between price and value when I had my landscaping company. None. In fact, I didn't even know how to value myself. So I showed up. In fact, there's one house. It was in Arizona. It was a cleanup. They had these big sisu trees, which are like cottonwoods, but they shed year round. So leaves everywhere, just a giant mess. And I look at the yard and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like trying to come up with a price of what I think, how long it's going to take and how much I should charge. And all of a sudden, I just come up with a number, $450. And she's like, $450? Her eyes got all big. $450? Yeah, $450. She's like, deal. When can you start? I was like, oh, we'll be here tomorrow. So me and my 2 guys show up the next day and we're there for 8 hours. Hardly make a dent. We show up the second day, fill up the trailer again. 8 hours. We're about halfway through. And I'm looking at myself going, I'm paying these guys at the time, $12 an hour. And we're not making a dent. It ended up taking us 4 days. I lost money on the job, but she was happy, right? Because I had no idea how to do this. Now, back to the conversation, right? We talk about this and we say, okay, if somebody is price shopping, there's one of 2 things that's happened, right? Number one is they haven't equated value or the value that we have to the product or service that we sell. That's the first thing, right? The value. The second thing is they've never shopped anything. What the hell, balloons? Who cares? What the hell? I don't know what's going on here. If you're watching this, apparently we can do like all kinds of cool stuff now on our screens, balloons and hearts and crazy things. So I just had a bunch of balloons come up. Anyway, so the second thing is they are literally only interested in price. Now, how do we differentiate between the two? Very easily. I'm going to tell you how. Number one, if somebody is either calling you or reaching out to you or reaching out in a Facebook group, putting a post on, hey, I need drywall. Who wants to bid on it? And there's 72 people that bid on it or that are interested that go bid on it. What are they doing? They're price shopping. 100% they're price shopping, right? You're going to have a very difficult time landing that job. Why? Well, you're probably not going to be the cheapest. At least you shouldn't be, right? But then how are they comparing you to everybody else? They're just looking at price. Why? Because they can't tell the difference between you and the 71 other people who said that they would like to bid on the job. And they're bidding on price. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again, right? Should you be working with those people? I don't know. If you're desperate, maybe. But I'll tell you, if you can help people shift their mindset from price to value, you'll never have that conversation again. Now, how do we do that? Let's give a perfect example. Okay. Let's drywallers. We got B&W drywallers, got Rich on the show. So Rich, congratulations. You're the lucky winner today. So let's talk about drywall. How do you bid drywall? Well, most drywallers bid by the square, right? You got your set price, you bid by the square, and your square price usually includes material and finishing, right? So you bid by the square. Now, I don't know exactly what the price is where you're at, so we're not going to get into price, but let's just say you bid on the square, right? The problem is when you lead with price, what do you have to fall back on? Nothing. Like your price is your price. They saw your price, right? There's nothing of value inside of that. So how is it that you could add more value to what it is that you do, right? Well, the first thing is you have to get to know the client. What is it that they actually want? You might think that they want drywall or they want paint or they want flooring or they want electrical or they want plumbing. That's not actually what they want. Think about it. Put yourself in their shoes. We're in the process of buying a house right now. It's got an unfinished basement. I already know I'm going to have to get the work done on it, right? I'm not after the cheapest price. The basement for me serves a purpose. And the purpose is when we resell this thing, I want to have the additional space, additional bedroom, additional living space, additional bathroom, additional kitchen. Why? Because a lot of people are into house hacking right now. And house hacking basically means, how do I finish out additional space that I could then rent out to somebody else? So now, how does my property become different than everyone else's? Because my property has a finished basement, which you can rent out and make additional income. But if you, the drywaller, are approaching me saying we can get it done cheap and fast, like it's not connecting to what I want done. What I'm after is something of value far beyond the transaction. And if you can't make that connection, what's the likelihood that I'm going to use you? Now, if you spend a couple of minutes having a conversation with me and you were like, Garrett, we can help you with your drywall. No problem at all. In fact, just so you know, I have an entire network of tradesmen that I can introduce you to that'll help you get all these things done. And we vetted them, so they're good to go. But let me ask you, why is it that you want to get this basement done? I mean, is it for your kids? Do you have a growing family? Oh, you don't. All your kids are grown. Okay. So like, what's the purpose of it? Oh, you're thinking value after you sell. That's great. Right? And what have I started? I started a conversation that has nothing to do with price. Who am I more likely to choose? Someone who understands me, my pain and my problems and has a solution, or someone that's price shopping? Well, think about it. What is it in your case? Right? Now, it doesn't matter the trade. It doesn't matter what you do as a contractor, whether you're a builder, whether you're doing cabinets, whether you're doing drywall, whether you're doing landscaping, it doesn't matter. You want to connect with people on a level that they understand the value that you bring to the table. Here's another example. David, welcome to the show, 360 Plus Homes. This one I love to use with home builders. All right. Home builders, remodelers, either way. Are people actually looking for a home? No, they're not. What are they looking for? Well, it could be an investment long-term. It could be something they want to hand off to their kids. It could be their quote unquote forever home that they're remodeling because they can't afford it because interest rates are almost at 8% now. There's a reason why they want to either remodel or build. Your job is to find it. Now, your job then is not to say, well, this is about how much we charge per square foot. cost plus, whatever method you use. That's not what it's after, right? Or what you're after. What you're after is figuring out the reason why, and then how can you add so much value that the price becomes irrelevant, right? Remodeling, for example. Think about this. If you're remodeling your house, maybe guys don't think about it as much as women, but if you're married, you should think about what's important to your wife. Think about it this way, right? If you're remodeling, do you have an idea what paint color you should use, what cabinets you should use, what fixtures you should use, what a layout in a room should be? Like, you don't know the answers to these things. And most builders, by the way, are really good at taking instructions and then executing. But as far as thinking that way, they're not really good at it. And it's okay. I'm not knocking you guys. You just have a very specific skill set. Now imagine if you partnered with, let's just say, a designer. And as part of your package of value, you offered 10 hours with this designer. And this designer would come in, would meet with the homeowners, would help them pick out paint, help them pick out, fixtures and finishes and all these different things. How much of a value would that be for the end client? Not only that, what if you had an architect that would also make sure that everything was done to code and make sure that the permits were done and make sure all these other things that sometimes the homeowner has to take care of? Thank you, Barry. I appreciate the shout out. You can have my energy all day long. But what if you had that? Not only that, what if at the end of this project that you completed, every client got a 3-day, 2-night getaway at some place, somewhere in the mountains or by the lake or down by the beach? They got a 3-day, 2-night getaway, and you were able to then bring in your own cleaners and top to bottom, make it look like it's brand new. All of a sudden, we're having a completely different conversation from, oh yeah, we can remodel your kitchen and bath. Sure, it'll be $38,000. Well, I'm comparing your $38,000 to theirs, and theirs is $35,000. So can you come in a little cheaper? What can we do here, right? You're getting the price shoppers. Again, how do we take price out of the equation? We bring in value. So I actually want to pause for a second, and I want to hear back from you. Right now, do you lead with price or do you lead with value? So in the comments, answer that question. Do you lead with price or do you lead with value? So ask yourself that, right? So when we're looking at this, we're saying, okay, when I put all my numbers together, do I just send over my quote unquote bid estimate and it's just got a bunch of numbers? They might be broken down. They might not be. It might be cost plus. It might not be. But all I'm giving them is a bunch of numbers. Or do I never present numbers over the phone or on email or text message? Do I make sure that I sit down with someone and then I have a conversation with them and make sure that what I have is addressing the pain or problems that they're experiencing and providing a solution that goes above and beyond what they're looking for? We've got Mike that says value. Charles, from now on, value, which means right now you're doing price. Brian, value. Okay, so we have some value. And I'd love to hear, by the way, if you did drop a value, if you do lead with value, what is it that you do that sets you above everyone else? What is the value proposition that you provide, right? I'll give you a perfect example. With Justin and I, when you work with us, not only do you get access to Contractor Plus itself, which provides the ability for you to track and follow up with your leads, your estimates, your proposals, your bids, whatever you're calling them, allows you to sign contracts, get financing, allows you to run your jobs in an efficient and effective manner. Not only that, but then we also say, okay, what is it that you're struggling with or that you will struggle with that we can provide a solution for? Well, guess what? We've identified the 5 areas that every contractor will struggle with if they're not already, and we provide a solution for that, right? Now, let's look at a couple more of the comments we got. We got B&W Drywallers. I lead with value. Redeemed Your Homes LLC. Little of both. Trying to learn to focus on value. I had the last client tell me she never doubted the quality she would get. That's good. That's really good. You got to ask yourself, why is she speaking that way? Was it something you said or did? A referral? Like, what's the reason? right? So we understand that. So then we can double down on that. BMF services. One of my first statements is, I can tell you I'm not the cheapest fence guy out there. So if you're looking for cheap, you're not looking for me. But let me explain why. Ooh, kind of like that one. I like that one. And you're right? You're not the cheapest. And they need to know that, but they also need to know why. Well said. Well said. Charles says, always keep the client informed along the way. Again, communication goes a very long way with clients. Mike, we'll get to your issue. You can email customer support. We'll get that taken care of for you. John says, lead with reputation as hands-on. Love that. Yeah, your reputation always precedes you. B&W Drywaller says, tell them what I'll do, then additional small repairs around their house for free of charge. That's an interesting one. Yeah, but that's definitely valuable, right? So think about this, right? You guys are starting to understand this, but what if you were more intentional about it? One of the exercises that we lead our 7-figure contractors through is what we call the value proposition. Now, what do I mean by value proposition? Take price out of the equation. If price was irrelevant, right? If price was irrelevant, what would you offer? What would you offer as part of your products or services? What would you offer? And take a minute, and we run these 7-figure contractors through this exercise, just a brainstorming exercise. What would I offer if price was irrelevant as part of my package, as part of what I do, regardless if it's fencing or drywall or handyman work or, anything else associated with contracting? What would I offer, right? So you take a second and you write all these things down. Then, of course, comes the reality check. How can I fit as many of these as possible into my service without breaking the bank or breaking my business, right? And then you start to play the game, right? I gave you a perfect example. Why would a designer want to partner with you as a home builder? Well, guess what? If you offer 5 hours or 10 hours or whatever with a homeowner, I guarantee you they're going to want more hours. Well, anything above and beyond, they just pay the rate that the designer wants. Well, the designer now gets in front of a new potential client, gets to offer their services, right? And then gets to add value. So of course they're going to want to partner with you. Architect, same thing. Cleaning company, same thing, right? So what can you offer that's above and beyond, right? B&W, last customer needed 3 walls repairs and textures. I added the last wall in for free to make it look all new. Beautiful, right? Above and beyond. Hey, listen, we're going to come in and we're going to do repairs, and then we're going to walk your entire house, and anywhere that you might have a divot, a dent, or a hole, because we know you have kids, we're just going to go ahead and repair those for free. Valuable, right? Valuable. As we wrap up today's conversation, I want you guys to understand something. There's a lot of complaints about the value, there's a lot of complaints about the economy. There's a lot of complaints about the economy. There's a lot of complaints about politics. There's a lot of complaints about gas prices. There's a lot of complaints about everything, right? We can sit here and complain all day long, but it's not going to change anything. There's still people that are buying. In fact, there's a lot of them. Your job is not only to get in front of them, but it's to provide enough value for them to want to do work with you. I know you can do it. I have faith and confidence in you. Justin has faith and confidence in you. Now it's your turn to figure out, how can I add more value to what I do so that I can have a different conversation with everybody I come across, where I'm no longer focused on price, but I'm 100% focused on value. All right. That's all we have for you today. Actually, we have one more thing. If we had a drum roll, we would do the drum roll. So we did mention that we were going to have a giveaway for a $50 Lowe's gift card. $50 Lowe's gift card. So for those of you that showed up, we appreciate you being here. For those of you that are still here, congratulations. You're in the running. So we're going to have Justin running through his machine in the background, and then he's going to tell us who the winner is. So stand by while Justin runs it through. I'll read some comments while we're waiting for Justin to get that all figured out. We got Eiler Masonry. I take my first look, see how the customer reacts after giving my first small estimate. If they're very demanding, I need my second look, and the estimate may fluctuate. You're right. It may. B&W says, I have no complaint department. That's good. That's good. All right, here we go. Eiler, usually end up upping it for material, but always add in some free repaints. Love that. We've got Eagle Eyes Coating, Volusia County, Florida. Just started my own painting business. In my last company I worked, used to get mad when you would do extras. Well, you're not your last company, my man. So you get to choose what you do, right? Again, warranty your work for a year. Like, how many painters do that? Hey, if there's anything that happens with your paint in the next 12 months, we'll come back and fix it for free. That's valuable, right? All right. Justin, did we come up with a winner? All right, here we go. Barry Pittman for the win. Congratulations, Barry. You got the $50 Lowe's gift card for the day. Well done. We'll be in contact with you and make sure you get your hands on that gift card. Thanks again to everyone for showing up today on the show. Again, we appreciate you guys being here, but more than anything, we want you to take what we're teaching you and go and implement it. Even if it's just one thing. What's one thing you could do this week to add value to what it is that you're doing as a business? All right, that's all we got for you. Barry, woo, winner, winner, chicken dinner, bro. Here we go. That's all we got for you guys. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Mindset Mondays. Thank you for joining us and being a part of this incredible journey to not just be great at what you do, but to live a great life too. Remember, every tool, tip, and story shared here is a step towards building your dream, both on and off the job site.